120 meters away and start moving in, closing in to waypoint 2, just 20 meters away from the docking axis. Of course, they'll be monitoring along the way.
We did hear the Corps mention that they are going to have a checkpoint to make sure that there isn't too much sunlight on the space station, which will prevent Dragon from docking. If that does happen, Dragon will autonomously back out and wait until the sunlight has cleared to ensure a good docking with the space station. Because this is all autonomous, it uses some visual cameras to align with the docking port. So it's really important that we don't have that sunlight getting in the way.
Section Delta on the big loop, sound check.
SpaceX has you loud and clear on the big loop. Helm me.
Heavy, loud and clear. Your last call, we copied most of it, but you cut out towards the end there. I'm not sure if there's anything important for us.
Copy. I'm going to repeat the end of the call. We did have a TDRS handover. Just for awareness, following the lighting assessment, if we continue but sunlight results in a loss of the Dragon Eye geofilters, Dragon Eye will autonomously retreat back to waypoint 1, still on closed loop control using the time of flight filters. How copy?
Okay, we copied all. Thank you very much for repeating.
No problem, Shane. And for awareness, the C2V2 link reconfiguration has been completed.
Copy, C2V2 complete.
And there, the Corps just reiterated that they will be checking to make sure that the sunlight is not in the way of the visual systems between Dragon and the space station. If that does happen, Dragon will autonomously retract and wait until we do get some good visual views for these systems to dock with each other. So
that's right. Crew Dragon resilience actually coming into view a little bit clearer now from the cameras aboard Dragon. Dock to the zenith port.
Yeah, that was on the upper portion of the screen.
That's right. Now again, to reiterate, Dragon has passed waypoint 1, 220 meters in front of the station, executed a burn maneuver to go ahead and move in, so we're in approach 1. And it's heading towards waypoint 2. Now inside the keep-out sphere. It's currently in the process of extending its soft capture ring that'll be used to dock to the international docking adapter of the forward port. We're monitoring the visual systems of Dragon. It would execute an automatic retreat if the sun was interfering with the optical systems as it makes its way towards an approach. We're at about 150 meters away from the station.
And we have such a great camera view here. You can really see the detail on Dragon. Again, those 4 bulkhead thrusters. You could almost read the logo, the Dragon logo on the side of the vehicle.
That's right. We'll get even better views as it makes its way even closer to make contact and capture with the space station.
There it is.
Yeah, based on the trajectory here, we may even anticipate a capture a little bit earlier than anticipating. We were looking at about 2:10 a.m. Pacific time. It might be at maybe closer to 2:07 p.m. The features of the space station coming into view very clearly.
Yeah, you can see a lot of the detail there. And as you mentioned, the Crew-1 Dragon.
SpaceX station on the big loop. Procedure review complete, ready for docking.
Houston copies.
All right, that was confirmation from Victor Glover aboard the International Space Station. From the space station side, he is go for docking. The soft capture ring itself is fully extended. We're 115 meters in closing.
Looking at your screen, the port that we are going to be docking with is directly in the middle of the screen, that circular area on the International Space Station.
Station Houston on 2 for Ike regarding SSC-17 and D2DM. We are seeing some strange configurations on the video, and we would like to close and restart that. We can take care of that from the ground if you would like. Absolutely. If you're seeing nominal, that works for us.
Okay, so Victor Glover aboard the station still has...
Put that in work.
And Dragon, SpaceX soft capture ring extension is complete. Additionally, we did beat the sunlight for the Dragon Eye filters, so we are not going to command a hold.
Never copies off.
All right, so that's great news. We passed the 110-meter checkpoint that the ground operators were referencing, making sure the sun wasn't interfering with the optical sensors, the Dragon Eye, that are part of the guidance and navigation and control system aboard Dragon. We passed that check mark. We're good to go. We beat the sun there. So we're now inside 80 meters and closing. Dragon will pause at 20 meters. That's designated as waypoint 2 to conduct a go, no-go poll for the readiness on both the Dragon side and the International Space Station side, making sure everyone is good for docking. If we are go, we expect to dock during this pass over an orbital daytime. Expected in less than 20 minutes. Some of the features there, you can see a lot of the visiting vehicles on board station. At the bottom is a Russian Soyuz vehicle that delivered crew to the International Space Station. Just in front of that, or actually above that, is the Crew Dragon Resilience docked to the Zenith port. Once Crew Dragon Endeavour arrives, there will be 2 Crew Dragons attached to the space station.
And this view from Crew Dragon looking at the International Space Station, it looks like it's this very slow and steady movement, but in reality, they're moving at 17,500 miles per hour.
The rendezvous operations are absolutely incredible. You can sort of see the Northrop Grumman Cygnus cargo craft as well, some of the ultraflex solar arrays coming into view a little bit clearly.
And you can see that Crew-1 Dragon vehicle on the top of your screen. Once Crew 2 docks to the International Space Station, we will have 2 Crew Dragons docked at the same time for the first time.
That view right there was truly a representation truly of an international cooperation there. The U.S.-built Node 2 is where the Dragon will be docking today. It was flanked by the European Columbus module and the Japanese
SpaceX
GEM.
Endeavour on the big loop, visors down.
SpaceX copies. Visors are down. We may enter into a hold at waypoint 2. We are still awaiting ground go for final approach.
Endeavour copies.
The detail of this camera view is pretty incredible. Here from the International Space Station, watching Crew Dragon as it is slowly approaching.
And as expected, Dragon holding at waypoint 2. It's at about 20 meters right in front of the docking axis.
And if you're just now joining us, we are just waiting for a confirmation for go for docking. Currently holding Dragon at waypoint 2. And again, it looks like Dragon is just paused and not even moving, but again, as we just mentioned, both the space station and Crew Dragon are actually moving at approximately 17,500 miles per hour. So it's pretty incredible how it can hold these speeds so that it looks like they are just completely paused.
That's right. Teams on the ground, both from the station side in Mission Control Houston and Mission Control Hawthorne, just checking and verifying all systems are go to proceed with docking.
And when we do begin docking, there will be 2 portions of this. There will be a soft capture followed by a hard capture. The soft capture will be a soft capture ring that basically just connects the Crew Dragon to the space station to enable the hard capture, which will be 12 hooks that will attach Dragon to the station.
Again, we're standing by the International Space Station, flying over the Indian Ocean now, just south of the Indian border. It's heading on a southeasterly course just south of Australia and should cross over the Terminator line into the Pacific Ocean into an orbital nighttime. The expectation is for Dragon to depart here from waypoint 2 and proceed on with docking ahead of orbital nighttime to beat the sun.
You can see this camera moving around. Again, this is controlled from the ground from Mission Control Houston. And they're maneuvering this camera around so we can just get a more detailed view of the Crew-2 Dragon Endeavour, patiently waiting, docking to the International Space Station.
Dragon on its second flight, about to dock to the forward end of the International Space Station for the second time.
And Station and Endeavour on the big loop. Ike, we are not able to recover that video for the D2DM, so you can close that window, and we should be ready to press into final approach shortly.
Station copies.
You did hear that call out speak out to Ike. Ike is actually referring to Victor Glover. That is just his nickname.
Dragon SpaceX on the big loop. Ground is now go for final approach. Upon confirmation of crew readiness for final approach, we will enable the approach. Please confirm crew readiness, and a reminder, once Dragon is inside the crew hands-off point, retreat and breakout are no longer permitted.
Crew is ready for final approach.
And got some good words that the crew is ready for the docking to the International Space Station. They no longer will have control of any aborts. If there is an abort needed, it will have to be done by the Dragon autonomously.
Houston on the big loop, monitor per steps 3 and 4 and 1.104.
Station copy.
Again, we are now moving into the CHOP, which is the crew hands-off point. As I was mentioning earlier, if there is an abort, it will need to be done autonomously by Dragon.
All right, we did get confirmation. Approach 2 has been initiated. So Dragon now making its way inside the 20-meter hold point at about 18 meters and closing. Final approach of Endeavour to dock with the International Space Station has started. Docking expected in about 3.5 minutes from now.
And you can see on your screen as Crew Dragon slowly approaches towards that port for docking.
That's right, we're 13 meters and closing, making a slow and methodical approach to the docking port. That's on the forward end of the International Space Station, that international docking adapter where Crew Dragon Endeavour has docked once before.
Meters.
Copy, 10 meters.
What that that call out was Crew Dragon is just 10 meters away from the International Space Station as it continues its approach for docking. Again, docking will occur in 2 phases. There will be a soft capture followed by a hard capture, and what that hard capture means is 12 physical hooks will connect the Dragon to the space station.
Great views. Dragon just 6 meters away as the station and Dragon fly in tandem 263 statute miles over the South Indian Ocean in the background.
5 meters.
We're 5 meters and closing.
Copy 5 meters.
Really start to see the detail on Dragon there as it is closing in on docking.
That's right, 2.5 meters, 30 seconds. Crew hands off point was called out.
Dragon, SpaceX on the big loop, soft capture confirmed.
Copy, soft capture confirmed.
Great news with that call out. That soft capture is confirmed.
That's right, that soft capture time, 2:08 a.m. Pacific time, 4:08 a.m. Eastern. The station and Dragon connected 264 statute miles over the South Indian Ocean. Endeavour connected to International Space Station for the 2nd time.
And there are still a few steps to complete before Dragon is securely attached.
Dragon, SpaceX on the big loop, soft capture ring retraction in progress.
That's good. The ring retraction is happening. Ring retraction happening as expected. And after the ring retracts, 12 hooks will latch, 6 at a time, to perform a hard capture, and will officially mate Dragon to the International Space Station.
Got this really awesome view of Dragon as it is connected to the port, currently making progress on hard capture.
Soft capture ring retraction does take some time. It is continuing at its anticipated speed. Things are looking good. Again, this is the first in a series of steps to officially mate Dragon to the station. you're just joining us, we heard the call out for soft capture confirmed at 2:08 a.m. Pacific time, 4:08 a.m. Eastern time. Station and Dragon were 264 statute miles over the South Indian Ocean at the time of contact and capture. We're still in the process of retracting the soft capture ring and anticipating proceeding with the hard capture sequence, where 12 hooks will drive to officially mate Dragon with the International Space Station's International Docking Adapter at the forward port. Crew Dragon Endeavour docked to that forward port for the second time.
Dragon SpaceX on the big loop. Ring retraction is complete. Docking sequence is holding for MCS reconfiguration.
Endeavour copies off.
If you're just now joining us, as you can see on your screen, Crew Dragon has made contact with the International Space Station, and we're currently in progress of...
Endeavour and station, MCS is configured, proceeding with hook driving.
Endeavour copies.
Station copies.
Great timing there. This is now the beginning of the hard capture sequence. This is where 12 hooks will latch between Dragon and the space station, 6 hooks at a time. This will take a few minutes to complete.
That's right, that MCS is just configuring the International Space Station's attitude control. It needed to be configured differently between a soft capture and hard capture sequence. So now that that's been confirmed, they can go ahead and press to drive the 12 hooks needed to confirm a hard capture. To reiterate, the Dragon had contact and capture with the space station at 2:08 a.m. Pacific time, 5:08 a.m. Eastern. Space Station and Dragon crossing over the Terminator line just south of Australia, about to head over the South Pacific Ocean. Start seeing the views of Dragon get a little bit dimmer as we still undergo the hard capture sequence. All right, again, we're still undergoing the hard capture sequence. There's 12 hooks that drive to officially mate Dragon to the International Space Station, 6 of them driving currently. Station attitude configured to support the hard capture sequence, now operating on control moment gyros to maintain attitude control during the hard capture sequence. All right, and we have confirmation the first set of hooks, all 6 have been driven. They look good. The second set are driving and are looking good at the anticipated speed. Halfway there.
This will take just a couple more minutes for hard capture to complete. As a reminder, after hard capture is complete, they do still have some more steps that they need to go through in order to ensure that the space station and Dragon are safe for crew ingress. There will be the hatch opening as the crew the crew on board Dragon as well as the station will be walking through some procedures prior to ingress of the Crew-2 crew on the International Space Station. But once they do ingress on the station, there will be a welcome ceremony.
Again, half of the hard capture hooks have been driven and locked into place. The second set of 6 hooks, 12 total, 6 of them driving.
Dragon, SpaceX on the big loop. Hard capture is complete. You are go to open visors.
Copy, hard capture complete. Opening visors.
All right. Crew Dragon Endeavour officially made it to the International Space Station. That dynamic period of the docking phase is complete. The crew inside Dragon have been wearing their suits just as an extra precaution, but they can go ahead and pull up their visors. It's going to be some time until the hatches themselves are open between Dragon and the International Space Station. Still some things to configure on that side. The vestibule on the International Docking Adapter that separates the hatches of Dragon and the International Space Station. That's been exposed to the vacuum of space and has had the sun shining on it periodically. So when repressurizing the vestibule to equal the pressure inside the space station.
Station, hard capture complete. Welcome to ISS. We are so excited to have you aboard.
Thanks, Shannon. We're glad to be here. We'll see you all in a few minutes.
International Space Station Commander Shannon Walker welcoming the crew. Now Crew-2 officially made it to the International Space Station. Again, it's going to be some time until they come in, but the commander of the International Space Station welcoming 4 new crew members for her expedition on board here shortly. All right, so again, there's a series of steps here as we enter into an orbital nighttime, completing the docking of Crew Dragon Endeavour to the International Space Station for a second time. That contact and capture occurring at 2:08 a.m. Pacific time, 5:08 a.m. Eastern. We have a confirmed hard capture. The umbilical is in motion to connect the station to the Dragon and provide data and power and communication through that umbilical, so it no longer has to rely on its own systems. Everything's looking good for that vehicle. It's going to be some time again until we repressurize the vestibule and get those hatches open between the Dragon and the International Space Station. It'll be the crew inside the station getting that ready to be opened.
Endeavour, SpaceX, docking sequence is complete. Welcome to the ISS.
Thank you, SpaceX. Great to be here.
some more official words that docking is complete. The crew must be so excited to finally have arrived at the space station. Again, there is some more steps that they will need to complete and some checks before they can ingress on the space station. But the crew can now get out of their suits before moving into hatch operations. So now they can start to get comfortable again. They no longer need these suits now that they have arrived at the space station.
That's right. And so it'll be some time again until that area between the International Space Station and or the hatches.
SpaceX Endeavour on Dragon to ground. Are you ready for us to begin suit doffing?
SpaceX copies. You are go to begin suit doffing and audio configuration. Procedure 4.012.
Copy, that's in work.
So again, it'll take some time. The crew will begin doffing or taking off their suits. It'll be some time to repressurize the vestibule. Station side, astronauts on the station side will configure the hatch, getting ready to open that up and welcome the crew inside the International Space Station. It was a pretty great docking. Everything happened right on cue and as expected. So it was a great to see Crew Dragon Endeavour dock to the International Space Station once again. We've enjoyed it from here in Mission Control Hawthorne, but to see how things turned out from the space station side of things as we work together to complete today's operation, let's go to Courtney Beasley for a refresher on what's ahead now that Dragon is docked.
SpaceX cameras are external.
Copy, thanks.
Thanks, Gary. It's great to see Dragon successfully docked to the International Space Station. Even through the face masks, you can see and feel the excitement in the room here in Mission Control Houston. Now that we're docked, Victor Glover is securing some hardware, and then he'll move right into hatch operations. First, he will open the large hatch at Node 2 forward, giving him access inside the pressurized mating adapter. Then he will have to pressurize the vestibule, which is the small space between the hatches on Dragon and the space station. This was exposed to vacuum prior to docking, and he will need to fill it with air and make sure its pressure is nearly equal with the atmospheric pressures on Dragon and the station. He will use a small valve on the station's hatch to slowly introduce air into the vestibule, and flight controllers here in Houston will monitor the pressure and temperature readings inside and verify that everything is leak-free before we get ready to open up the hatches. We expect it to take about 2 hours to get everything pressurized and checked out before we open hatches. With Dragon successfully docked to the International Space Station, that's the latest from here in Mission Control Houston. And back to the team over in Hawthorne.
All right, thanks, Courtney. As mentioned, it will take some time to go ahead and go through those procedures, but we'll stay with you throughout today's coverage. Of course, one of the major things will be repressurizing the vestibule in between the hatches. There's a hatch called the A-Pass hatch. That's the hatch on the International Space Station side. And then there's the Dragon hatch itself. In between is a vestibule that's currently at vacuum. So in order to travel through both hatches, you need to repressurize that. Now that there's a hard mate between the two vehicles, they'll check the seal. They'll do some leak checks as they're repressurizing the vestibule up to vacuum. And that will take some time.
SpaceX Endeavour, check on the cabin mic.
SpaceX has you loud and clear on the cabin mic.
We have the same thing.
You're hearing the crew inside Endeavour go through their procedures. One of the first things they're ready to do is take off those suits. They had to wear it through several of the operations of a launch from the Kennedy Space Center to a docking with the International Space Station. Launch is a very dynamic activity, so they had suits on up until orbital insertion, and then they were able to doff their suits, have a meal, go to bed, check out some of the systems, wake up, and then right before they entered into the approach phase of today's flight with the approach initiation burn, they got their suits on and were able to pressurize them, and they held pressure throughout that sequence of today's flight until docking. Now they get to take it off. They get to stretch out, change into something a little bit more comfortable, but not too comfortable, of course, because they will be. We will have an event to welcome them on board the International Space Station we expect all 11 crew members to be there to welcome them. It's going to be pretty crowded, but it should be very exciting to see that many people on board the International Space Station.
And those call-outs that we just heard they were doing a comm check with the Crew Dragon communications, because they've now taken off their suits. They have comms through their suits, but since they're not going to be wearing their suits anymore, they need to use the comms through Dragon. So very exciting. It sounds like they're getting out of their suits as we speak, or doffing their suits. And then we will soon begin the process to open up those hatches so that the crew can finally ingress onto the space station. So it will take a little bit of time, but we will be here with you through every step of the way. If you're just now joining us, the Crew-2 crew has finally docked to the International Space Station after an approximately 23-hour ride from Earth to the station. Again, they are going to be performing a few procedures here before the Crew-2 can ingress onto the space station. They will be opening the APAS hatch, which is the space station side hatch, followed by the Dragon hatch. But this will take some time. They will need to repressurize the vestibule in between those two hatches before the crew can ingress.
That's right. The umbilical on the Dragon side has been fully extended to provide power, communications, and data from the International Space Station to the Dragon, so the Dragon no longer needing to rely on its own power systems. And of course, when the hatches are open, they'll be able to mix the air from the environment that's inside the space station with the Dragon, so it no longer needs to rely on its environmental control and life support systems. In the meantime, it is still doing so because the hatches are closed between both the Dragon and the International Space Station. There is a gap called the vestibule in between them that's currently at vacuum. That vestibule has been exposed to the vacuum of space on the forward end of the International Docking Adapter. So when bringing the pressure back up, there may be swings. Because of the temperature variation, there may be swings that need to dampen out before an effective leak check could take place. So the process of repressurizing the vestibule in between those two hatches does take quite a long time. It's expected to be about 2 hours until both of the hatches are open because of the length of time of repressuring that vestibule. Now from the station side, Victor Glover will outfit the 8-pass hatch. That's the one on the station side. He'll open it up and remove, once the vestibule is pressurized, he'll open that up and remove the docking target and install some padding onto the 8-pass hatch so that there's no unnecessary contact as astronauts are coming through the hatch from Crew Dragon to come inside of the forward end of the International Space Station.
Station Houston on 2, on the big loop, you are go to pick up in ingress part 1, step 1. Note that the pre-ingress ventilation in step 1.6 is not required.
Okay, picking up step 1 and 1.6 not required.
Dragon SpaceX, no response required, but ISS power connection has been established.
There you go. So Victor Glover on the International Space Station side already going through his procedures to get the hatches configured for ingress, essentially supporting the opening of the hatches, repressurizing in the vestibule. There's a lot to happen before we can open up the hatch and welcome the crew on the inside. The umbilical has been fully extended, and we just got confirmation that Dragon is drawing power from the International Space Station, so the solar arrays on the station providing power downstream to the Dragon. Dragon no longer needing to rely on its power. That officially confirmed. It will again take some time until the Dragon hatches are open. Dragon and Space Station hatches are open. And we've noticed for the past 2 times that Crew Dragons have docked to the station. The past 2 times being when Crew was aboard for Demo 2 and for Crew 1. We did notice that the crew inside Dragon took some time to get themselves situated, make sure everything on the Dragon side was configured before they left it and entered into the International Space Station. We should see celebratory hugs from the crew on board as they make their way one at a time, as they'll be together for the next few days until they have to say farewell to the Crew 1 astronauts aboard the International Space Station. Shannon Walker handing over command of the International Space Station. Before she does that, she's going to hand command over to Aki Hoshide, who's currently on board Crew 2. He'll take the responsibility of International Space Station commander through the duration of Expedition 65 until he's ready to hand it off to the next crew. That all happening in the next couple of days.
Crew Dragon Endeavour is docked to the International Space Station as we speak. The crew on board the space station as well as Crew 2 are preparing for a couple procedures here for hatch opening. That is the hatch opening on the space station side as well as the Crew Dragon hatch. And this will take approximately an hour, a little over an hour and a half to walk through all of these procedures. So though Crew 2 is at
station on the big loop, node 2, forward hatch is open.
And Ike, we copy, and you are go to continue through step 2, pressurizing vestibule.
Continue through step 2.
As I mentioned, they are walking through several procedures to get those 2 hatches open. As you can hear, that communication between Victor Glover on board the station with the ground team helping him out with the procedures.
That first hatch that he mentioned is the Node 2 forward hatch. From inside the Node 2 segment of the International Space Station, there are 3 hatches to get from Node 2 all the way down to the Dragon itself.
Dragon SpaceX. If desired, reference procedure 4.400 for monitoring vestibule pressurization.
Copy 4.400 for vestibule depress.
So now that Node 2 forward hatch is open, Victor Glover inside the pressurized mating adapter. Down the PMA is the APAS hatch, the hatch that separates the International Space Station now from the Dragon. With the Node 2 forward hatch open, Victor Glover can work to manually pressurize the vestibule. And we just heard from here in Mission Control Hawthorne that the crew on board Dragon Endeavour will be able to monitor the vestibule pressurization on their displays from the side of the Crew Dragon. You're getting a live look at both of the flight control rooms.
On the big loop. APAS equalization valve closed at 0938.
Houston copies 0938.
So you're looking at both of the flight control rooms on the left. SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne, California. Flight controllers there successfully monitoring the navigation of Crew Dragon Endeavour that autonomously made its way from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida to the International Space Station, docking at 2:08 a.m. Pacific time, 5:08 a.m. Eastern. With the International Space Station as they've been flying over the South Indian Ocean. The control teams are now working to configure Dragon for its stay aboard the International Space Station. They've hard-mated it using 12 hooks that drive to connect it to the International Docking Adapter, and have connected an umbilical and confirmed that power is being drawn from the space station to the Dragon, Dragon no longer needing to rely on its power source during its stay. All right, if you're just joining us, you're getting a live view of both of the control rooms. On the left is SpaceX Mission Control in Hawthorne, and on the right, Mission Control Houston with the International Space Station Flight Control Room. Crew Dragon Endeavour is officially docked to the International Space Station, and right now teams on both the station side and Dragon side are working to get ready to open up the hatches in between them. It's going to take some time until we get to that point where we're able to open up the hatches. Victor Glover on the station side is currently inside the pressurized mating adapter. He's working to manually pressurize the vestibule that exists between both of the hatches. It's going to take some time because that vestibule has been exposed to vacuum since before Crew Dragon just docked at 2:08 a.m. Pacific time, 5:08 a.m. Eastern time. And because it has been exposed to vacuum, the thermal environment causes it to have a little bit of oscillation as the pressure is rising. So they need to have some thermal equalization in the vestibule before beginning the pressurization to ensure that the leak checks are accurate. So they'll do a leak check on the way up to pressure, which is a little more than 14 pounds per square inch. They'll do a pressure check at 5 pounds per square inch, make sure everything's good, that the vestibule is holding pressure, and then they'll continue on up to match the pressure between the International Space Station and the Crew Dragon. In the meantime, Victor Glover will open up the A-Pass hatch on the International Space Station side. That's the hatch that separates the vestibule from the Dragon hatch. He'll outfit the A-Pass hatch by taking off the docking target, which is a long rod with an X on it and was used for some of the optical navigation equipment on the Crew Dragon for Dragon's approach and eventual docking to the station. He'll remove that. He'll put some pads on the A-Pass hatch, make sure no one bumps their head on the way in. And then when he heads into the vestibule, there is a little window. Hopefully, he'll be able to wave to his crewmates before they actually open up the hatch of the Dragon itself. After both hatches are open, the crews on both sides will get positioned. Well, first, the Crew-2 astronauts will just make sure everything is okay on Endeavour's side before they go ahead and officially leave that vehicle. Crew from inside Endeavour will enter or ingress into the International Space Station one at a time, being greeted by the 7 crew members that are currently aboard the International Space Station, including Crew-1 astronauts. You have Mike Hopkins, Victor Glover, and Shannon Walker from NASA, and Soichi Noguchi from the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency. Also on board, arriving on a Russian Soyuz in April, earlier this month, was Mark Vande Hei of NASA and Oleg Novitsky and Pyotr Dubrov from Roscosmos.
Dragon SpaceX for audio configuration.
Go ahead for audio config.
Right, Shane, we are about to transition to hardline audio with ISS.
Copy.
All right, so you just heard the confirmation. The Dragon and International Space Station are mated now by not only the International Docking Adapter, but there is an umbilical that's extending to the space station. We did have confirmation that we have power that's being drawn from the space station to the Dragon side, so they're configuring some of the other channels, including communication. So they'll configure that one at a time. Some of the sequence of events that's going to happen over the next couple of hours until as we continue to repressurize the vestibule and get the station and Dragon outfitted to eventually open up the hatches. We'll be with you throughout the entire duration of this sequence until we have those hatches open and provide a live coverage of a welcome ceremony, show the inside of the space station and the crews of Dragon, both Resilience and Endeavour, and of course the MS-18 Soyuz vehicle that are all on board the International Space Station now as part of Expedition 65, welcoming each other officially aboard.
Dragon Endeavour Houston on 2 on the big loop for hard line. We are ready for comm checks with SpaceX, ISS, and Houston.
All right, so it's a little hard to see from this view. It's a external camera view aboard the International Space Station. On the port truss, you can sort of see the nose cone flipped up, but that's Crew Dragon Endeavour on the forward end of the station. It's hard mated using 12 hooks that have driven to hard capture Crew Dragon Endeavour to the International Space Station. It's also connected by umbilical to the station. We've confirmed that power is being drawn from the station to Dragon. Dragon no longer needing to rely on its own internal systems for power. That umbilical also provides a communication line. Now coming up will be a test of that communication line between the teams, between the Dragon itself, Crew Dragon Endeavour, and the International Space Station, and the ground teams, making sure that that connection that we've been hearing throughout the approach and docking phase of today's flight on the big loop.
SpaceX Houston in station. This is Endeavour. Comm check.
And SpaceX has you loud and clear, Endeavour.
And Houston has you loud and clear.
And the space station has you loud and clear on hard line.
We copy it all on hard line. Loud and clear.
All right, so the same control teams that we've been hearing through the approach and docking phase of the flight on the big loop. That includes the SpaceX flight controllers in Mission Control Hawthorne. The voice you're hearing is Core or Crew Operations and Resource Engineer Arthur Berrialt. He confirmed from here in Hawthorne. From Mission Control Houston, Capcom Kathy Bolt confirmed the hardline communication network is working on board the International Space Station. That was the voice of Victor Glover, who's currently working through the procedures for opening up the hatches, including the repressurization of the vestibule. Still awaiting some temperature equalization there before that begins. But that'll be some of his next steps. And then aboard Crew Dragon Endeavour, Commander Shane Kimbrough confirming that hardline communication is working. So we got good power and good communication through the umbilical line to the Dragon from the International Space Station. We'll continue to provide periodic updates throughout this sequence of repressurizing the vestibule and opening up the hatches, configuring the Dragon and the International Space Station as they are mated together in space.
SpaceX Endeavour for some reports on 4.400 when you're ready.
SpaceX is ready to copy for 4.400.
Okay, for tablet percentage MS177, CDR 84, PLT 87, MS279.
All right, SpaceX copies. Reading back. Tablet power is MS177, CDR is 84, PLT is 87, and MS2 is 79.
Good readback.
Station Houston on 2. We've had a good vestibule pressurization and leak check. You are go to pick up and ingress part 2, step 3.
All right, that's great news. Picking up in part 2, step 3 for ingress. Thanks.
If you're just now joining us, you are watching the live broadcast for the Crew-2 mission for SpaceX and NASA. The Crew-2 Dragon Endeavour has docked to the International Space Station. They're currently working some procedures to process opening the APAS hatch, which is the hatch on the International Space Station side, as well as the hatch on the Dragon, Crew Dragon, prior to crew ingress onto the space station. And what you're looking at on your screen is Crew Dragon Endeavour docked to the International Space Station. We are hearing some call-outs as they're walking through some procedures, so we're keeping up with the teams. Again, this process does take a bit of time.
So if you're just joining us, the Dragon itself is attached to the International Space Station. The crew inside, namely Victor Glover, is making incremental steps to open up the hatches between the International Space Station and the Dragon itself. Glover waited for thermal equalization of the vestibule in between each of the hatches, the station side and the Dragon side. After thermal equalization, he brought it up to about 5 pounds per square inch, performed a leak check, and everything looked good, so he proceeded to increase the vestibule pressure to equalize with the International Space Station's pressure. With vestibule pressurization complete, and after a few checks, Glover will be given the go to open up the station side hatch, the APAS hatch. Once that's open, he'll be able to see the Crew-2 astronauts inside the Dragon Endeavour. There's a small window on the Dragon hatch that he'll be able to see them. And his main job before opening up that hatch will be configuring the station side hatch. That hatch is configured with a docking target. It's a small rod with an X on the end that provided guidance for the Dragon during its approach to dock with the International Space Station. He'll remove that docking target and provide some padding to allow safe entry into the International Space Station for the Crew-2 astronauts.
Victor Glover is one of the NASA astronauts that flew on Crew-1 about 6 months ago. So he is the one preparing, who has been preparing the space station for Crew-2's arrival. This is Victor's first mission on the International Space Station, and first time that he has been to space, so it's pretty cool that he gets to welcome the Crew-2 team and help get them on board the space station.
And Station Houston on 2 for Node 2 video.
Go.
Yeah, we were wondering if we could get permission to come on board in Node 2.
You're welcome. Please come on board.
Okay, and we'll need the high-def camera powered on.
All right, so we've been very lucky with some of the external views here This coming from a camera on the Japanese exposed facility pointing at the forward end of the International Space Station where the Dragon is currently docked. Crew Dragon Endeavour. Very shortly, with permission from Victor Glover, we should be getting some views from the inside of the International Space Station and seeing what Victor Glover is up to. He's at the forward end, inside the pressurized mating adapter, going through his procedures to configure the APAS hatch, getting it ready to open. We did hear confirmation earlier that the vestibule is pressurized between the two hatches, those hatches being the station hatch and the Dragon hatch.
Looks like we got that live view on the station.
I think that's Soichi Noguchi on board the International Space Station. Colonel Mike Hopkins, NASA astronaut and commander of the Crew-1 Dragon Resilience, coming into frame as well. There are 7 crew members currently aboard the International Space Station, not counting the Crew-2 astronauts who are on the other side of that hatch. Once that hatch is open, there will be 11 crew members on board the International Space Station. Sort of forget that you don't really need to be in an upright position to work from this orientation. We're looking sort of in an upright position. If you look down or nadir from this position, you would go straight down towards the Earth, but you can see clearly Soichi Noguchi upside down. Mike Hopkins was just upside down. You don't really need to be in a particular orientation to work.
Coming into frame, that is Victor Glover.
And there's Mark Vande Hei from NASA, who arrived earlier this month on the Soyuz MS-18 rocket launching from Kazakhstan, with 2 Russian cosmonauts, Oleg Novitsky and Pyotr Dubrov. They'll be joining for the welcome ceremony to welcome the Crew-2 astronauts aboard as well.
Another thing to point out, you could see that each of them are just wearing socks. Don't really need shoes to be on the space station, since they're not really walking anywhere. They're floating around.
Yeah, they use their hands really to propel themselves from module to module, but their feet, you can see some of the blue handrails situated around the International Space Station. Ooh, there's a good shot of how astronauts typically use those handrails. They'll wrap their feet underneath them to stabilize them. Looks like the pressurized mating adapter is used for some stowage, so there's looks like Noguchi and Glover are reconfiguring some of the stowed items to allow some room to open up the A-Pass hatch, the hatch on the International Space Station side, and provide a pathway for the Crew-2 astronauts to come through the hatch to be welcomed in Node 2. So again, the vestibule is pressurized between the Dragon hatch and the station hatch. You can see Noguchi working on the station hatch. His next procedure is to go ahead and open it. And you can see, confirmed, A-Pass hatch is open. Noguchi taking some initial photographs. Part of the procedures will be to survey the hatch itself, inspect for any foreign object debris.
Houston Station, big loop, A-Pass hatch open, and that's dry, and seals are clean.
And Houston copies, and you can continue on step 4.
Dragon, SpaceX for procedure 4.400.
SpaceX.
All right, Shane, when you're ready with that A-Pass hatch call, that does unblock us to go into section 5 of 4.400 when we get there. Additionally, when you're ready, we are ready to collect inventory in section 3.
Okay, inventory coming to you, and we're ready for section 5 after that.
SpaceX copies, thanks.
Thank you, Thomas, for the inventory. So just quickly, compared to what I reported prior, the only delta is 2 bottles from from bag 204 in location 9. All the rest is as per our previous report. So I'm not sure you need all the details of what's remaining, because I kind of gave the detail of what we've consumed from the food locations. I can give you the details. It's your call.
SpaceX copies. If there's no delta from your previous report, we don't need it, but I will read back. That was 4 bottles from bag 204.
Two bottles, sorry, 2.
Copy that. 2 bottles from 204. Last question for section 5 of 4.400. Does that 2 bottle include the additional bottle that will be used in step 5.1, or will we require an additional bottle?
I know it's a good question, Arthur, and we're working on this, so you can add another bottle for this section, and we'll grab it from 206.
All right, SpaceX copies. Thanks, Tama. We'll take one bottle from 206. And Tama, SpaceX, last question. Can you confirm no food deltas from previous report, or did you also consume midday meals for today?
No, we didn't consume anything. The latest last food consumption was the one I reported before.
All right, copy. Thank you.
All right, you just heard the core here in Mission Control Hawthorne communicating with the crew on the inside of the Dragon. They're behind this camera view that you're seeing here. This is the center line camera of Crew Dragon Endeavour. You're getting a look at Soichi Noguchi as he outfits the APAS hatch, getting ready for the astronauts inside Endeavour to come through the hatch. The hatch to Dragon is still closed as Noguchi continues to outfit that APAS hatch. He took some photographs upon entering into the vestibule that you see here and took some photographs to survey the APAS hatch, make sure the seals look good, reported that they all looked good, so he's continuing with the procedures to attach some pads and remove the docking rod from the center of the APAS hatch. APAS standing for Androgynous Peripheral Assembly System. It's just the hatch on the station side, the last one until you get to the Dragon hatch.
Dragon SpaceX, question on procedure 4.012, suit doffing.
Go ahead, SpaceX.
All right, Shane, just wanted to follow up. We wanted to confirm that all 4 suits are drying, and then when ready, when we can come back on board.
All 4 suits are drying. Some of them have been drying for an hour already, and you are welcome to come back on board.
Copy that, Tama. Thank you.
Very cool. Got some words that we might get some camera views inside of Crew Dragon with the Crew-2 team already doffed their suits, confirming that their suits are drying as they are waiting for ingress on the International Space Station. What you're seeing on your screen is Soichi Noguchi getting this vestibule area set up for the Crew-2 ingress prior to opening the Crew Dragon hatch. Once that hatch is open, the crew will not immediately ingress onto the space station. They do need to follow a few more procedures just to make sure that everything is good to go before they ingress on the space station.
So you see some of the padding that's needed to outfit that APAS hatch. He's just wrapping it around the metal structure that is the station side hatch. He'll do this to completion. On the other end, we'll hopefully be getting some views from the inside of the Dragon cabin and seeing both perspectives from the Dragon side.
Dragon SpaceX for awareness. Cameras are back on board.
Thanks. Welcome on board.
All right. We'll hopefully get those views inside Dragon soon. Meanwhile, Soichi Noguchi continuing to outfit the hatch. Again, this is one of those steps to get all of the hatches open in between Dragon and the International Space Station. Now getting views from inside Dragon. The crew have doffed or taken off their suits. And so now they're dressed and ready for the welcome ceremony. Once they get on board, we'll have some hugs, and they'll have a chance to talk with some of their crewmates before getting in front of the camera to officially welcome the Crew-2 astronauts aboard the International Space Station, an orbiting complex that will support a crew of 11 until Wednesday the 28th is the planned undocking time for the Crew-1 astronauts, Soichi Noguchi, currently one of those astronauts that will be departing, along with 3 American astronauts, including Mike Hopkins, Shannon Walker, and Victor Glover. All right, looks like Noguchi has that A-Pass hatch wrapped. You can see just above him, he used a series of padding and blankets to wrap the metal structure that is the station side hatch, and now he's inside the vestibule. See some of the tubes he's bringing in the vestibule section that are peeking through towards us on the pressurized mating adapter side. That'll allow the circulation of some of the air from the station side and remove any carbon pockets that may appear in the environment of the space station. So we're a little more than an hour and a half removed from the docking, the official docking
Houston,
time.
Hawthorne Endeavour Station is ready for Dragon hatch equalization.
Houston, copy.
Endeavour copies.
Endeavour copies.
NASA astronaut Mark Van High coming in to help out. The crew on both sides getting confirmation. The next step's underway to get that other hatch open. There's one more hatch. You see the station side hatch open at the back end of the pressurized mating adapter there. There's one more hatch, the Dragon on the Dragon side. And the crews on both ends are working through to open up that hatch and welcome the Crew-2 astronauts on board. Just going to stand by for a few minutes for pressure to equalize between the International Space Station and the Dragon hatch before go ahead and opening that final one.
And Endeavour Houston, can you confirm readiness for hatch equalization?
Endeavour's ready.
Endeavour's ready.
Okay, station and Endeavour, stand by for equalization. It's expected to take 5.5 minutes.
station, copy.
Endeavor copies.
Endeavor copies.
All right, so you heard that equalization time. A timer is set for about 5.5 minutes to allow that pressure to equalize between the pressure inside the environment of the International Space Station and the pressure inside the Dragon. That pressure has to be equalized within both spacecraft before the Dragon hatch is open, one of the steps to open up that final hatch. So we'll just stand by as that equalization is underway. In the meantime, you can see in the pressurized mating adapter, Mark Van de Heij currently moving some stowed items around, creating a clear pathway for the Crew-2 astronauts to enter the International Space Station once they head through the hatch, being assisted by Suichi Noguchi. We've also seen Victor Glover, who was primed for monitoring Crew Dragon's approach to the International Space Station. So it looks like Glover is resetting the camera position there. That view provided a nice angle downward into the pressurized mating adapter to see some of the activities happening for opening up the hatches. Now Glover's just getting that camera set up for the next activity, which will be a welcome ceremony. Putting it in a good position to frame or allow to frame 11 astronauts to squeeze into that shot. I think that'll be an impressive feat by itself.
Yeah, that is quite a bit of people, especially for the International Space Station. But it'll be really cool to see them all together.
So right now it's looking like the procedures to undergo opening up the hatch. Again, we're still waiting for pressure to equalize between the space station and the Dragon itself before opening up that hatch. But it seems like we're on a good timeline to start a welcome ceremony on time. That's expected to begin at 4:45 a.m. Pacific. Should be 7:45 a.m. Eastern. Gathered inside Node 2 now, you see over to the left is NASA astronaut Mark Vande Hei. Going from left to right, we have Crew Dragon Resilience Commander Mike Hopkins, followed by Soichi Noguchi and International Space Station Commander and NASA astronaut Shannon Walker. How do you fit 11 people on camera? That's what we want to know.
And that's what it looked like they were trying to figure out. Trying to get into position to see probably where that camera should be and where they should be facing.
Yeah. All right, we'll get periodic handovers from the views we were seeing on board the International Space Station as well as Dragon. The views being provided through tracking and data relay satellites, geosynchronous satellites that provide that video feed from the International Space Station. Right now you're looking at mission control in Hawthorne, flight controllers looking after the Dragon Endeavour and its systems. Dragon will be configured for a long duration stay aboard the International Space Station, eventually being configured for a quiescent mode. Will remain there for 6 months with periodic checks, of course, to check on the status and health of the spacecraft itself before it departs 6 months down the road.
And Endeavour and Station hatch equalization has started. 5.5 minutes wait time.
Endeavour copies. Station copies.
All right, so the pressure is... The equalization process has been started between the International Space Station and Crew Dragon Endeavour. The clock starts 5.5 minutes. After that clock runs out, the teams will verify that the hatch is good to open between the Dragon and the International Space Station. We're still tracking to start the welcome ceremony at 4:45 a.m. Pacific time, 7:45 a.m. Eastern. We'll hopefully get to see the crew in early, but they'll be able to do some hugs, get settled, and then get in position to start the welcome ceremony. We'll keep you up to date if that time does change. But it seems we're looking good so far for the Endeavour crew to enter into the International Space Station.
It looks like we got that live view back on the International Space Station where they are preparing for the Crew-2 to ingress and getting set up for that welcome ceremony. You can kind of see them all coordinating with each other on maybe where the cameras need to be. and where they want to do this welcome ceremony. We're currently waiting for equalization of pressure between the International Space Station and Crew Dragon prior to opening that hatch on the Crew Dragon.
So again, we're in the middle of a 5.5 minute timer as equalization is underway between the pressure inside the International Space Station and pressure inside the Crew Dragon Endeavour. So we'll just wait on the status after that 5.5 minute timer and the OK to open up the Dragon hatch. It may be some time after the Dragon hatch is open until the Crew-2 astronauts enter into the International Space Station. But we're tracking a welcome ceremony to formally begin as of now in 45 minutes. Keep you up to date in case that changes.
Looks like we just have a different camera view on the International Space Station. That is JAXA astronaut Soichi Noguchi that you see in the frame right now.
Preparations happening on both sides. We're mostly getting views from the International Space Station side, but the Crew-2 astronauts are inside the Crew Dragon capsule getting configured. Because once they enter through the hatch, they'll join the 7-member crew of Expedition 65 that's currently aboard the International Space Station and conduct a welcome ceremony. We'll see some hugs and shared camaraderie among the Expedition 65 crew for a little bit, and then formally welcome them to the to Expedition 65 aboard the space station.
Dragon SpaceX for 4.400.
Go ahead, SpaceX, on Dragon to ground.
Hey Shane, just looking for confirmation of completion of section 5 of 4.400.
Section 5 is complete.
SpaceX copies, thanks. And additionally, last check is completion of procedure 4.012, suit doffing.
Yeah, sorry, we didn't let you know that. 4.012 is complete.
Much appreciated. Thank you, Shane.
All right, a few checks from the crew operations and resource engineer.
Dragon SpaceX on the big loop for hatch open.
Go ahead for hatch open on the big loop.
All right, Dragon, you are go for hatch opening per the decal on the hatch, followed by the remaining actions in procedure 4.400, section 6.
Okay, that's in work.
Good words that they got the go for opening the Dragon hatch.
It's fantastic news. We can kind of see the hatch from this angle. Hopefully it remains unobstructed. We may be able to see the, yep, you can see the handles moving a little bit. Yes, there it goes.
Again, this is being opened from the interior side of the Crew Dragon vehicle. So this is the Crew-2 crew performing this work right now. It looks like the crew on station is getting excited, peeking in.
I can feel the energy for sure. All right, Dragon hatch is open.
Already seeing a bunch of smiles.
All right, that Dragon hatch, the final hatch that we've been waiting for since Endeavour docked to the International Space Station 2 hours ago, 2:08 a.m. Pacific. 4:05 a.m. Pacific is the time that Dragon hatch was open. Already seeing some smiles.
So again, as we mentioned, the Dragon hatch is open, but the Crew-2 members still need to finish walking through some remaining procedures before they can ingress onto the space station, including photos. It looks like you can see the the crew posing for some pictures there.
SpaceX on the big loop, hatch is open.
SpaceX copies on the big loop. Hatch is open.
All right, again, the hatch was open at 4:05 a.m. Pacific. The space station and Dragon flying together in unison, attached, Endeavour attached at the forward port. Those vehicles were 267 statute miles over the South Pacific to the east of New Zealand.
SpaceX Endeavour 4.400 complete.
SpaceX copies. 4.400 is complete.
So as a reminder, even though the Dragon hatch is open, it still may be a couple of minutes until the crew Dragon Endeavour astronauts actually ingress or enter into the International Space Station to be welcomed by all of the expedition's 65 crew members currently aboard who are eagerly awaiting them to come on board their new home, the International Space Station, for the next 6 months. It's a couple of procedures. You see some of the air ducts.
And the Houston Dragon in 2.102, step 6, 1, IMV duct installation complete. You are go for IMV fan activation.
Houston copies. We'll put that in work.
Okay, yeah, so some of those procedures that are happening on the Dragon side, they're going to install some IMV ducting, mixing the air of the International Space Station environment with the air inside the Crew Dragon Endeavour. They're going to seal some of the LiO, or lithium hydroxide cartridges that scrubbed carbon dioxide inside the Dragon capsule on the ride up to the International Space Station. They're going to check some vent valves, so it may be some time until we actually see them welcomed aboard. But just these last final checks are critical before they leave the capsule that brought them up to the International Space Station. Make sure it's good to go, because it will remain docked here for the next 6 months.
Looks like the station side crew is ready, and they're just waiting for the Crew-2 crew to ingress onto the space station here in a few minutes once they finish their procedures. And lots of smiles. They look very excited for this right now. If you're just now joining us, the Crew-2 Dragon Endeavour is attached to the International Space Station. We are just eagerly awaiting the crew on board Dragon to ingress onto the space station here shortly. They're finishing their final procedures. Both the A-Pass hatch and the Dragon hatch are open. So we should just be a few minutes away from the Crew-2 astronauts ingressing onto the space station.
Meanwhile, in the frame now, you can see the 4-person crew of Crew Dragon Resilience. From left to right, you have Victor Glover, Shannon Walker, Soichi Noguchi, and Mike Hopkins.
And Soichi doing some flips for us.
That's right.
This is the Crew-1 crew waiting to welcome the Crew-2 crew, whom they will hand the baton off to. They'll spend approximately 5 days with the Crew-2 astronauts as they do a handover prior to Crew-1 coming back to Earth as early as April 28th next week.
Endeavour Houston, you are go, and step 6.3.
You go and 6.3 for Endeavour. 6.3 for Endeavour.
We got some communications from Houston to the Crew-2 members on board Dragon. Continuing with the next procedure. Again, they should be ingressing on the International Space Station here very shortly. Crew-1 crew hanging out on your screen there, waiting for Crew-2 to ingress.
Again, all the hatches are open between the International Space Station and Dragon. The crew of Endeavour just going through some last-minute checklists to make sure that Dragon Endeavour is configured properly before they leave it, which successfully carried them from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida to the International Space Station over the course of just a little more than 23 hours. Docking with the space station earlier this morning at 2:08 a.m. Pacific. Coming into frame here, you see at the forefront of the frame is NASA astronaut Mark Vande Hei joining the Crew-1 astronauts. All of them currently members of Expedition 65. As part of their mission to stay on board the International Space Station for a long-duration mission of science, maintenance, technology demonstrations, and upgrades.
If you're just now joining, you are watching the live broadcast for the Crew-2 mission. We are currently waiting upon the ingress of the Crew-2 astronauts onto the International Space Station. They have already docked. Both the A-Pass hatch and the Dragon hatch are open.
New to the frame on the left there is Roscosmos cosmonaut Oleg Novitsky. He was the commander of the MS-18 Soyuz spacecraft that made its way to the International Space Station earlier this month with NASA astronaut Mark Vande Hei. Also on board is Pyotr Dubrov, who hasn't been in front of the frame yet, but he'll be part of the welcome ceremony as part of the 11-member crew that makes up Expedition 65 currently aboard the space station.
Station Houston on 2. Station Houston on 2 for scene and voice check for upcoming PIO event. We're good with the scene check if we could just get a voice check. And Shannon, we are not picking up any audio.
How about now? Having things on works better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And Shannon, we did hear you that time. We're checking. And Shannon, can you give us another long count?
Sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Copy, thank you. We're checking. And that's a good voice check.
and SpaceX Endeavour on space ground for LIO.
SpaceX is with you on space to ground for LIO.
We were trying to install the LIO with the bag cover. That is LIO 1. Oh, correction. Yeah, LIO 2 in the bag and in the non-active storage area. And while we were pushing in, it tore the bag and it cut that bag pretty big. Would you like us to proceed with this or go without the bag?
Copy that.
Just to let you know, the seal is on that LIO cartridge too.
Copy that, Dragon. Just to read back, there's a tear in the LIO bag as a result of trying to insert into the LIO slot. Stand by, we're going to get you some forward actions.
Okay, copy. And we do have a camera pointing at it right now. It's a cargo camera.
Copy that, we see it, thanks. Dragon SpaceX, can you confirm if it is LIO cartridge 1 or LIO cartridge 2?
Yeah, the LIO cartridge 2 is in the bag. LIO cartridge 1 is secured in the active location with the seal on.
Copy that. Stand by 1. Dragon SpaceX, we are going to have you stow that LiO cartridge without a bag. How copy?
All right, for those of you joining, we're in a handover period with some of the tracking and data relay satellites, geosynchronous satellites that provide the video feeds we were seeing and enjoying from the International Space Station as we eagerly await the crew inside Endeavour to enter into the International Space Station. The Expedition's 65 crew members, all 7 of them gathered inside of the station on the other end of the Dragon's hatch, eagerly awaiting for them to get inside. Flight controllers here in Mission Control Hawthorne just undergoing a series of checks, final steps really, for the astronauts inside Endeavour to undergo before they enter through the hatch and leave the capsule that brought them up to the International Space Station. Some of the LiO cartridges you're hearing are lithium hydroxide cartridges that scrub carbon dioxide from the environment of the Dragon Endeavour capsule. Now regaining some of those views. Once the 4-person crew of Endeavour comes onto the International Space Station, there will officially be 11 crew members on board as part of Expedition 65. We're still on track to start a welcome ceremony here in a little less than 15 minutes. We'll have representatives.
Dragon SpaceX, repeating a call. We did have a teacher's handover. Want to confirm that we will stow this cartridge without a LiO bag, but we just want to verify that the seals are secure on each side of the LiO.
And just to verify, seals are secure on both LiO cartridges 1 and 2.
SpaceX copies. Thank you.
And SpaceX, please let us know what to do with the bag itself.
So from left to right inside the International Space Station's.
Dragon, SpaceX copies. We do want to save this bag so we can look at the RIP in the future. Stand by, we're going to get you words on where to store it.
And Endeavour copies.
Crew of Endeavour still working through those last-minute procedures. Again, LiO cartridges or lithium hydroxide cartridges that scrub carbon dioxide from the environment of inside Crew Dragon Endeavour. You're getting live views from the International Space Station side. From left to right, we have Roscosmos cosmonaut Oleg Novitsky, followed by International Space Station Commander and NASA astronaut Shannon Walker. coming down from the...
LIO bag. Sorry, could you repeat where to stow that bag?
Yes, stand by, Dragon. We are finding a good common bag to put it in for temporary stowage.
Okay, copy that. We'll just stow it for now.
Copy, Dragon. If possible, we can also put it in a trash bag in location 17. That would be bag 111.
Okay, copy. We'll get a trash bag from location 17, bag 111, and put it in there.
Okay, copy. That is bag 111, and that is actually location 18.
Location 18, bag 111.
In this frame, all 7 crew members of Expedition 65 currently on board the station gathered to welcome the Crew-2 astronauts aboard Endeavour. On the top left is NASA astronaut Victor Glover. You see Soichi Noguchi in the foreground on the right there. On the far right is NASA astronaut Mark Vandehei. Mike Hopkins is just behind Soichi Noguchi there. And Roscosmos cosmonaut Pyotr Dubrov is on the zenith or space-facing side, sort of the ceiling from this shot, all gathered and eagerly awaiting for the 4-person crew of Crew Dragon Endeavour to come on board.
Soichi Noguchi doing some backflips as they eagerly await the Crew-2 astronauts to ingress on to the International Space Station. The Crew-2 crew is finishing some final procedures. Once they complete all of those procedures on board Crew Dragon, they should be able to ingress on the International Space Station. And once they ingress, there will be some welcoming hugs and smiles, and then we will have an official welcome ceremony.
It's been a long journey for the 4-person crew of Endeavour. It took them 23 hours to make their way to dock to the International Space Station earlier this morning, that docking time at 2:08 a.m. Pacific. The Dragon hatch was opened at 4:05 a.m. Pacific. We're counting down to the Endeavour astronauts to enter into the International Space Station, and we'll begin a formal welcome ceremony to officially welcome Endeavour to the International Space Station, and we'll have representatives from the space agencies of the crew on board Endeavour, including NASA and the European Space Agency and the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, chiming in to congratulate the Crew-2 astronauts and the support teams that helped to get them to the orbiting laboratory today.
Houston Station on 2, unless anybody's opposed, we're going to progress with ingress.
Endeavour, welcome aboard. You are go to ingress.
Endeavour arriving.
Got some confirmation that the crew is go for ingress, and you can see Aki is the first to ingress onto the International Space Station.
And Gwyn.
And Gwyn.
Followed by Thomas Pesquet from the European Space Agency.
Lots of hugs and smiles right now.
Pilot Megan McArthur of Crew-2 is next, being welcomed by the Expedition 65 crew members, and Shane Kimbrough bringing up the rear. The 11-person crew of Expedition 65 now together inside Node 2 of the International Space Station.
Though we can't even hear audio in there, you could really feel the excitement just by the looks on their faces, the hugs that they're giving. Now they're getting ready for this official welcome ceremony. You can see them getting into position. With
let the Tetris game of fitting 11 crew members into a single frame begin.
Right. 12. Gwyn.
Oh, that's right.
Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston, this is Station. We are ready for the event.
Mr. Jersick, please call Station for a voice check.
Station, this is Steve Jerzik. How do you hear me?
Steve, we have you loud and clear. Welcome to the International Space Station.
Hey, man, it is awesome to see the 11 of you on station. It's incredible. Congratulations, Crew-2 on an amazing launch yesterday. Coming to Kennedy Space Center and watching launches never gets old, and seeing the pre-dawn launch yesterday was amazing. So congratulations. I also want to congratulate the NASA and SpaceX team for our third commercial crew mission in less than a year. A lot of firsts on this mission, including the first crew handover of commercial crew vehicle, and it was really cool during docking to see one Dragon docked on the Zenith port and the other Dragon coming in for docking. So it was amazing. April has been an amazing month and a really busy month for ISS, with Mark, Pieter, and Oleg launching to ISS. Kate and her Russian colleagues coming back. Crew-2 there, and now preparing for Crew-1 to come back. And I am really excited for all the research, technology development that is going to be able to be enabled on station with these regular crew rotations and having 4 crew up there consistently. It's not only important for advancing research technology development to benefit folks here on Earth, but also to prepare for Artemis and our return to the moon, and eventually are preparing for human missions to Mars. So it's just an incredibly exciting time for ISS. Shane, Megan, Aki, and Thomas, we thank Tomas. We thank you for everything you do for the agency, the country, and the world, and we look forward to an amazing expedition. Crew-1, you guys have had an amazing 6 months. Mike, Victor, Shannon, and Suichi, I've followed what you've done to upgrade the station and all the research and technology you've been able to accomplish. And just want to congratulate you on an amazing expedition. And we look forward to your return next week. So again, I'm just really excited for this new era for ISS and all that you all have and will be able to accomplish. So thank you.
Thank you, Steve. It is very exciting to have Crew-2 with us today, and so I'm not going to take up any time here. I'm just going to hand it over so we can get their thoughts.
Thanks, Shannon. Thanks, Steve. And on behalf of Crew-2, we are just so excited to be here. I'm very excited to be here. In some ways, it's been a long journey. In other ways, it's been a pretty quick one-year assignment flow. So it's taken a tremendous amount of work from a lot of different teams to get us here. We, of course, have our excellent training team at Johnson Space Center, also an outstanding training team from Hawthorne, and the entire ISS program and commercial crew program working together to get us here, of course, as well as along with our international partners. We're just really excited to be here and be part of this historic mission with the 2 Dragons on board. First reuse of a capsule, first reuse of a booster. It's just a tremendous achievement on behalf of our partner SpaceX. So I want to congratulate and thank them. And we're so excited to be here. We're ready to get to work. There's a lot of great science that I know we're going to be doing, and we're just excited to learn and get started. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jerzik. We now welcome Associate Administrator Kathy Leaders to provide remarks. Ms. Leaders, please call station for a voice check.
Station, hi, this is Kathy Leaders. Do you hear me?
Kathy, we have you loud and clear.
Wow, I just don't, I think I could see Endeavour approaching station maybe one more time, near and dear to my heart to see that going on. And, I think both Steve and Megan mentioned how amazing it was to see resilience there on the station. The folks, Crew 1 folks, and the other parts of the ISS team, Mark, and you guys had the best view, but it was really cool seeing it from here on Earth. Like Steve talked about, wow, this is, and Megan too, we talk a lot about this being, and exploration being a team sport, and this mission so far has really exemplified that. You know, with our commercial partner, SpaceX, with our international partners, and with Thomas and Aki, and obviously Megan, you and Shane, you know, holding up on the NASA side here, and then our commercial crew and ISS teams. Congratulations to all of you. It's just been an amazing, amazing mission, and I know you guys are going to be doing some really great things. I've been here watching the folks here on station waiting for you, and I know you guys will be having a lot of fun together over this direct handover period, and with all of you on board. It's going to be a lot of fun for you, and getting ready for Crew 1 to come home. So I just wanted to really, from the bottom of my heart, say thank you. Thanks to all of you. Thanks to the whole team, the international, the commercial, you folks there on the space station now today safely. And looking forward to, like Steve said, seeing your accomplishments over the next 6 months. Thanks again.
Thank you, Kathy. Really appreciate your support.
Thank you, Ms. Leaders. We now welcome JAXA President Dr. Yamakawa Hiroshi. Dr. Yamakawa, please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Yamakawa Hiroshi from Tsukuba. How do you hear me?
Dr. Yamakawa, we hear loud and clear.
Well, thank you, Aki. Well, congratulations to all. I watched yesterday's launch on TV and really feel relieved by your safe arrival to the station now. In this tough situation around the world, I believe you have brought courage and hope for all of us. It is a great pleasure not only for me but also for Japan that 2 Japanese astronauts, Aki and Soichi, have boarded the operational spacecrafts of the Crew Dragon twice in a row. This represents the many years of close cooperation between close cooperation on the International Space Station. I'm so happy to see both of you with big smiles today. And I understand that Aki advocates teamwork for this long-term mission, which comes from your experience in rugby football. The ISS is a symbol of international cooperation around the world, and we are looking forward to seeing you work as a team, build a scrum with all of the crew members from NASA, ESA, and Russia on board, and keep scoring tries to maximize outcome during your mission. Soichi, we wish you a safe return to the Earth. And Aki, good luck and enjoy your stay in space. 野口さん、地球で待ってます。星出さん、これから半年間頑張ってください。Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be part of this team. We have a 11-person scrum right here, and with 4 countries representing. It's really an honor and privilege to fly on Crew-2 Dragon and get here. Thank you to all the people that worked very, very hard to prepare us and the vehicle. We got here safely, and now it's time to work here on board the International Space Station. And we look forward to working with everyone around the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Yamakawa. We now welcome ESA Director General Joseph Ashbacher. Dr. Ashbacher, please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Joseph Ashbacher. How do you hear me?
Hey, Joseph, we hear you loud and clear. Welcome to the space station.
Thank you, Thomas. This is really great to see you, that you and your crewmates have arrived safely on the space station. Greetings to all of you, 11 of you at the station from all of us at ESA. It is really a fantastic effort to see you all so nicely grouped together in the group photo. I think the station needs expansion, seeing that you're all crowding together so nicely. On ESA, Thomas, we are all very, very proud of you and what you're doing for space, for Europe, for the space agency, also for France. You're extremely popular, as you know. We're all very proud of you, but of course we're also very proud of all the other colleagues which are next to you, because astronauts are so fascinating and they give so much inspiration to all of us. So this was the first launch of an ESA astronaut on a Crew Dragon. It was spectacular, and together with Philippe Baptiste, the newly elected CNES president, we have followed very closely from the suits up all the way to the orbital journey to the station, and now just recently, just a few minutes ago, the hatch opening, and this was really so exciting and really fantastic. It has been, I think, a long day for all of you, but you all look extremely in good shape and in good spirits. You're all smiling. This is really fantastic to see down here from Earth. But ESA is really very happy to see your assignment, Thomas, towards the end of the mission as the ISS commander. And I really would like to take this opportunity to thank the partners of the space station for this honor to give to Thomas, which certainly is a sign and a recognition of his quality and also his personal qualities, but of course engineering and technical qualities to be the commander of the station, and also recognition for ESA as being a strong partner and supporter of the space station all the way. So I know that you have a long and very intense training period behind you, and you're all set to go. There's a lot ahead of you. Hundreds of experiments are waiting, and all of you will be kept extremely busy, but we all look forward to see the results of these experiments. So Thomas, really very best wishes from all of us. Good luck and bonne chance.
Hey, thanks, Joseph. It's really unbelievable to be here on Space Station. Space Station has changed quite a bit since last time I was here. I've never seen so many astronauts on board. I've never seen so many different spacecrafts on board, and I think it's a tribute to how strong the program is going. I want to echo what Megan has said. It took a lot of effort from all kinds of people, you know, from the highest manager to all kinds of support persons to bring us here. So we want to thank all of them. And I want to say a few words about international cooperation. You said a lot, but it's been 20 years since it's been 20 years. Actually, Shane's line, I learned it from Shane. It's 20 years since JAXA and ESA and NASA and Russian astronaut have been together in space. So it's actually pretty historic what's happening today. We can't wait to start our work on the space station. We can't wait to see what's ahead on the adventure for us. In those 5 months, we're so happy to see our friends. We're going to have to say goodbye to them soon. We wish we could keep them a little bit longer, but not too long as well, because 11 people is a lot on space station. But yeah, it's good to be here. Really, we're impatient, and it's going to be unbelievable. I want to say a few words in French. Je voudrais surtout remercier tous les gens qui ont travaillé sur cette mission en français, et puis un petit mot pour les familles et les amis qui sont déplacés jusqu'à Cap Canaveral. Ça n'a pas été un voyage facile. En tout cas, ça m'a vraiment fait chaud au cœur de les avoir avec moi. Donc je voulais les saluer un peu particulièrement. Voilà. Merci à tous. All right, go ahead and
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event. Thank you.
Thank you, Acting Administrator Jersic, Associate Administrator Leaders, Dr. Yamakawa, and Dr. Aschbacher for your participation in the Crew-2 welcome ceremony. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.
Wow, what an incredible morning, Gary. It is so cool to see the Crew-2 crew on board with the rest of the astronauts on the International Space Station.
That's right. They were welcomed by leaders from each of the space agencies that represent the cadre that is the Crew-2 astronauts aboard Crew Dragon Endeavour. We first heard from Steve Jerzik, who's the acting administrator of NASA, based at NASA headquarters. We also then heard from Kathy Leaders, who's the associate administrator for Human Exploration and Operations Mission Directorate at NASA headquarters. Then we got to hear from the president of the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, Hiroshi Yamakawa, and Joseph Aschbacher wrapping up the comments as the Director General from the European Space Agency, each of them chiming in and talking about just what it took to get to this moment with 4 astronauts on board, 4 additional astronauts on board, I should say. An 11-person crew now makes up Expedition 65.
Yeah, it's been an incredible 24-plus hours for this Crew-2 mission. This was NASA's SpaceX Crew-2 mission, and we have been with you all from the beginning, starting up with suit-up of the astronauts in the suit-up room at the ONC building, following the crew on the NASA Causeway in their Teslas as they made their way to the launch pad, go up the fixed service structure and ingressed on Crew Dragon Endeavour. We had an on-time liftoff yesterday morning at 5:49 a.m. Eastern Time, with the first stage separating and coming back to Earth for its second flight and second landing on, of course, I Still Love You, while Dragon, separated from second stage, had a good nose cone deploy. We had 5 major burns on Dragon as it made its way to the International Space Station, and finally docking to the space station, where we just a few moments ago watched the crew ingress onto the International Space Station. So an incredible past day watching this mission. On behalf of SpaceX and NASA, thank you for watching today's webcast and for your interest in this exciting second rotational crew mission. Now that Dragon Endeavour has reached the International Space Station, it will spend approximately 6 months docked there until it's time for Crew-2 to return home via a splashdown in the Atlantic Ocean.
And now that Crew-2 has arrived, we're less than a week away from the return of Crew-1. We'll be taking you along as Mike Hopkins, Victor Glover, Shannon Walker, and Soichi Noguchi return home after their long-duration stay aboard the station. They're currently targeted to return on Wednesday, April 28th, so be sure to tune in as NASA and SpaceX bring you live coverage of every step of their journey. Be sure to follow NASA and SpaceX on social media for real-time updates. And thanks again for watching our coverage. Go NASA, go SpaceX, and go Crew-2. We'll see you again real soon.